Hello everyone, I'm going to show you how to do some worktop cuts with a router and a jig. I'm going to go from left to right and right to left, but this first video is going to be on how to do the female cut for your worktops. First of all, we're going to be using a Howden's jig. There's many different sizes of worktops you can use with a Howden's jig. There is the 500, the 600 and the 616. Now you get pegs for these corresponding sizes. First of all, measure your worktop, find out which size worktop you're using, grab your pegs and put them in the corresponding size. For this type it's 616. For the nosing of the female cut, you put it in the nosing side. For F, for female, that butts up to your nosing. Make sure it's aligned. You're trying to get the back edge of the jig cut to the front edge of your nosing. Grab a clamp. Try and use a G-clamps all the time or a screw clamp. Don't use pressure clamps because they just do not hold the jig strongly enough to your worktop. Get it somewhere near. Get a clamp on, tighten it up a little bit. Get the second clamp on. Get it a bit secure. Make sure it's constantly aligned all the time, and when you're happy, tighten the jig as strongly as you can. Don't worry, it won't harm the worktop. What you're trying to do is get that front nosing aligned with the back cut of your jig, and that is nice and straight and aligned. When you're happy, grab your router. Make sure all the cables are out the way. What we want to be doing, we don't want to use the router at any old angle to do the cut. We want to go from left to right, or up and down, back to forward and backwards all the time with your router, preferably side to side. Okay, when you're happy and when you're ready, you want to take at least 4 to 5 cuts to do your worktop. This first cut, go all the way through. Make sure everything's out the way. And then back again. Don't eject, take the router out and start again. When you go through, make sure you come all the way back because it cleans the cut as it goes. This is the second. Even if you've got a brand new blade, you'll find that trying to go through the full worktop at once, it's just not. The rotors aren't powerful enough. The blades aren't sharp enough, and it will jig around as you cut, and it'll give you an imperfect joint. Backwards and forwards, cleaning the cut as you go. The last of the cuts, always check to see if there's nothing underneath. If there's something underneath, like a plastic trestle or anything like that, even when the blade slightly hits it, it'll make it jump just at the slightest amount, and it'll give you an imperfect cut. When you put your worktops together, it'll show. All the way through, and there's the female cut done. Okay, the next part of the job is the bolt hole cuts. Now you've got little corresponding holes for your pegs again, which you've got a B marked on them. You put your pegs in, put that up to your worktop. The bottom ones go at your cut, and the side one goes at the side of your worktop. Make sure they're nicely in position, down the side and down the front. Grab your G-clamps again, tighten them up nice and tight. You don't want your jig moving around. This is why the pressure clamps just are no good. Grab your router. Now I like to go cut down to the centre of the worktop, not to the size of my actual worktop bolts. I use quite a few different sizes of worktop bolts, so I always like to pull from the middle of my worktop. There we go. Make sure when you do your worktop bolts, once you've done the cut, go in a few times. It cleans the cut and also gets any little bit that you might have missed when you've done your initial cut. Okay, now you're putting your worktop bolts on. Slot your worktop bolts in the worktop bolt cut. You can actually get little plastic holders that hold your bolts in place. They're quite expensive for what they are, and I prefer to just use screws. It's cheaper and it's quite easy to do. Grab your screw, put it in first one where the head of the bolt is. This will stop it from pushing right the way through when you go to tighten it. The second one goes at an angle just where the wing is, and this will stop the actual bolt from falling down when you lift the worktop up and try to put the worktop in place. 6 screws, all that's needed. Instead of paying 25-50 pence for black things that will basically do the same job. And there we go, the finished item. Nicely cut, ready to go, be put into place and ready for the mail, which will be shown on the next video.